Hello everyone, my name is Kim. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your new X-Range Propel for installation into your kayak. First, let's grab your thwart tube from your boat and let's get started. Inside the box, you will find an 801 X-Range Propel unit and a Propel kit. The kit includes left and right crank arms with pedals. They are size specific. You will find an R and an L stamped on the back side of the crank arms. Also included are 2 crank bolts, 8mm hex key, 4mm hex key, and pedal pins with hex. Before we take the X-Range Propel out of the box, let's look at the additional tools you will need to set it up. You will need a digital or click torque wrench and a measuring tape. At the end of the pivot arm, you will find what we call the knuckle. Its purpose is to secure the thwart tube to the drive. I find it easier to remove the knuckle from the drive before installing the thwart tube. To remove, simply pull the knuckle pin out of the arm and slide the knuckle off the unit. Next, slide the thwart tube into the knuckle and center. Once centered, use the 4mm hex key to tighten the screws on the 4-bolt cap located on the knuckle until the rubber spacers slightly bulge. Now slide the knuckle onto the pivot arm and reinstall the knuckle pin. Next, we install the crank arms. Place crank arms left and right on the appropriate sides of the drive crank spindle in opposing directions, like the pedals on a bike. Now grab the crank bolts. Note that the bolt is patched with Loctite. We don't recommend using Loctite during the installation of the crank bolts. The patch has proven sufficient to hold the bolts. Thread the crank bolts into the crank spindle using the 8mm hex key. Then tighten until the bolts are flush with the crank arm. Finish by torquing the bolts to 26 foot-pounds. We recommend using a digital or click torque wrench. However, the 26 foot-pounds can be achieved by using the 8mm hex key. Refer to the crank arm video on the card attached to the left pedal for more instructions on installing with the 8mm hex key. If you want your crank arms to be installed by a torque wrench but don't have access to one, find your local native dealer or bike shop. They are usually happy to install the crank arms for you. Now it is time to show you how to install your X-Range Propel into your kayak. Start by removing the tripod box and setting it to the side. Then lower the thwart tube into the thwart tube recess. Secure the tube by engaging the 2 twist latches. Now lower the Propel into the drive scupper and press the latch shelf onto the receiver. The new tripod box can then be placed into the scupper. Place the box down and secure it to the boat with a twist latch. The stow position can be achieved by first pulling the tripod box out. Then, gently pull the latch shelf away from the receiver. Line up the propeller by engaging the cavitation indexer. Now simultaneously lift and push the drive forward into the stow position. Rest the bulb over the lower cast onto the receiver. Secure to the kayak with a retention strap and replace the tripod box. You are all set to go. Our next video goes into our warranty requirements and maintenance instructions to help you get the most out of your Propel. Don't miss it. Also included in this video series are maintenance tutorials and a troubleshooting video with pro tips on how to handle common issues you may encounter while servicing or using your X-Range Propel. As always, contact your local dealer if you have additional questions. Thanks so much for watching.